Hi everybody, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Well, I'm going to go to Pensacola on Saturday, today, tomorrow, depending on whatever day I release this and you're watching it. So I thought I would get a video done today. And like I'll do a lot of times on the weekend, I'm just going to jump off the subject of food and talk about something different, a little bit different, something I've actually been focused on a little bit in my meditation practice recently, and that's acceptance. Um, Now I do videos mostly on the raw vegan lifestyle, the plant-based diet, fitness, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I do videos every day. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate if you'd go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click on the little bell and check send notifications so you will stay subscribed to the channel. Um, I was I've done a couple of meditations in the last week or so that dealt with acceptance, and it's just been on my mind a lot recently, and I just wanted to share a little bit today because this is something that's been in my head, for about 3 or 4 years now, something that's been growing for 3 or 4 years now. And once I started understanding the concept of acceptance a little bit, it brought a lot of peace to my life, but it also made a lot of sense in my life. I like to share some of this stuff in a practical manner. I don't want it to be so, because it does kind of relate to meditation, but I don't want it to be so woo woo and deep and this and that. A lot of the things, I'm a very practical person. I'm not a very emotional person. In fact, I like to cut through things, solve things, get to the heart of matters by getting rid of emotion. Because in most cases, and somebody I'm sure you'll find the exception, there's a ton of devil's advocates on YouTube, but mostly emotion clouds judgment, emotion clouds decision making, emotion gets in the way all the time. And I have these conversations with people from time to time, and I'm not pushy. I try not to be pushy with anything that I do in my life, whether it's the food or whatever. But I can tell when people are just not getting it. They're like, I'll tell them, yeah, but this is how it is. And they get all emotional, and sometimes they get angry. And that's when I stop. Because when people, there is, like I said, I've talked about reality a lot. There is what is. There is reality. And, no matter what, your emotions are not going to change reality. And having emotions or looking at things through emotional eyeglasses is not going to change the way things are. I guess if I had to trace it back a little bit, acceptance really started kicking in that little incident when I was locked up about 4 years ago in Panama. Other than being locked up for the odd night or something for drinking, usually related, this is the first time I ever had my freedom taken away from me. And it was in this situation that I just kind of worked it out in my head, and I came to it. It's like there's really no uh, uh, there's really no alternative to acceptance in a lot of situations. If you want to have some sort of peace of mind, it's just kind of like, deciding I'm going to, there are certain things we can set our mind to, and our mind's very powerful, but it's like if there's a brick wall right there and I've decided, well, I'm going to run through that brick wall. Well, I can run into it head first over and over, but I'm going to probably knock myself out. So as I've, developed on this sense. The meditation has just kind of brought it to the forefront again and really strengthened it and really given me something to think about and something that I wanted to share today. So I'm going to read this little piece. I was doing some reading last night, just random reading before I went to bed, and I found a good little piece on acceptance that kind of explains the concept. I'm going to put the link below just because, like the site, because I don't like to use anything and kind of claim it as my own, so I want to give credit for it. But I don't know if there's anything else on this site that has anything to do with any subjects, but I will put that link below in the description. This is, or the concept of acceptance. Acceptance is simply an acknowledgement of what is. Acceptance is a concept which forgoes judgment on a circumstance. Acceptance is a mindset which allows you to let go of frustration and disappointment, stress and anxiety, regret and false hopes. Acceptance brings peace. Acceptance is the practice of recognizing the limits of your control. Acceptance is a straightforward concept, yet a difficult practice. Thankfully, there are many chances to practice acceptance. The fact of the matter is that life is full of opportunities for you to wish that something else did happen, is happening, will happen when it is not. How often do you curse the fact that your plans for the day have unexpectedly changed? Or wonder in frustration why other people do the things they do or don't do the things they won't do? Or how often do you wistfully regret past mistakes or missed chances? Or wish that your life could change in some way? All of these are opportunities to practice acceptance. To be clear, acceptance is not giving up. Acceptance is a way of excusing other people's behavior and allowing it is not no, sorry. Acceptance is not a way of excusing other people's behavior and allowing it to continue. Acceptance is not about giving in to circumstances that are unhealthy or uncomfortable. The main thing that gets in the way of acceptance is wanting to be in control. But control is an illusion. Listen to that. Control is an illusion. The one guarantee in life is that it is unpredictable. You cannot control what happens in any given day. You cannot control what other people do, say, or think. You cannot control the past and you cannot control the future. So what can you control? Yourself and your thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, interpretations, expectations, assumptions. Trying to control anything else or operating under the idea that you can or should control anything else will only lead to frustration and self-contempt. Recognize what you can control and focus your energy on those things. Trying to control, i.e. change, anything else in life is wasted energy. Practice acceptance on simple things. For example, when it is raining, acknowledge it's raining without judgment. When your mind tries to judge or goes toward a line of thought that is leading away from acceptance, i.e., it sucks that it's raining, now I can't have my picnic, return to it's raining, this is. Use mindfulness skills, for example. Tune into the three senses, listen to the rain, watch, smell, taste and touch the rain. Time into the feeling of calm and peace that is generated by your acceptance. That says it in a nutshell. That accepts it. Control is an illusion. One thing that really resonates there as I was reading that again is just it to kind of like relate it to my meditation practice and the particular meditations I was doing on acceptance. But basically every meditation on the mindfulness meditations I'm doing involve acceptance. Because basically what you're doing with this monkey mind is when you're meditating, you're not trying to stop those thoughts. You're not judging those thoughts. You're not beating yourself up when thoughts arise during meditation. Ideally, you're letting those thoughts come up and you're aware of those thoughts. You see those thoughts or you hear or you experience those thoughts without any judgment, as is. And when you experience those without any judgment, it's much easier to let them go, because when we start putting judgments on them, like good and bad, anything like that, then the story sticks around a little bit longer and the story just continues to build. Listen, this stuff it's very practical. And as it relates to other people, it might be, maybe it's easier for me being a loner because I don't have expectations of other people's behavior, and I know I don't have any need, I don't have any want, I don't have any desire to try to control other people's behavior. But there's still circumstances, and I still have work to do, because there's things I catch myself all the time, like trying. But it's like in the meditation, the quicker we catch them, the quicker we're aware of it, and thus the quicker we just let it go, we can move on and we can find that peace in our life. I just see so many people, and and hey, maybe, I totally am aware that probably it's a lot easier from the outside looking in, but I just see so many people out there that just don't accept the situation around them, or accept what others are doing around them, or they're just beating their head against that proverbial wall trying to change those things that they can't change. Now, there's a lot of peace. Your situation may still suck, but it sucks even more when you're under the illusion that there's something you can do to change that. A lot of times when you kind of lean into the situation and accept it as it is, even though it can still be frustrating, annoying, sad, whatever emotion there is, it's a little bit easier because you've worked that out in your head. You've accepted something. Well, there's nothing that I can do about this. And like I read in that passage, this isn't about being passive or mamby-pamby or, there are things. Yeah, we can change the things that we can change. And that kind of goes back to a lot of this type stuff. It's interesting when I read this, goes back to the Serenity Prayer. But there's a lot of common sense in that. Like, I think somebody asked me after one of my meditations if I had been in recovery or if I had done any 12-step programs. And no, I haven't. But I mean, pretty much most people are aware of the Serenity Prayer. I've seen it before, and there's a lot of common sense in that. Give me I think it was down here on the page of where this little reading was. Yeah, God grant me, and hey, if you don't believe in religious stuff, just think of the concept of it. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So that's all you can really do. If there's a situation you're dealing with or whatever, if you can change it, change it. If you can't change it, if there's no possibility of changing it, if it's outside of your realm of control, the only peace you're going to be able to find in your life is finding a way to accept that. I don't know. I think about these things. Sometimes it's like I overthink. I spend too much time in my head by myself, and I think about how something relates to me and how other people will perceive that. Because other people's lives are alien to me. I just don't interact with other people enough to have a lot of experience in some of the areas that most people my age would have. So maybe think about this. Be mindful of this when you're dealing with other people and you're frustrated with other people and you're frustrated with the way maybe people are treating you. When outside circumstances, hey, when something happens at the job that's beyond your control, instead of letting your emotions get scattered and run wild and whatever, stop for a second. Stop. Slow down everything around you. Take a couple of deep breaths and just ask yourself, is there anything I can reasonably do to change the situation, to change the circumstances that are causing me to feel the way I do? If the answer is yes, change them. If the answer is no, just kind of try to say to yourself, like, this is something, you might have to say it, you don't necessarily have to say it out loud, maybe you just say it in your head. This is a situation I can't change, so all I can do is accept it. But anyhow, that's just my 2 cents worth. I just kind of, like I say, I want to share these little insights I have as my practice goes on and on. I'm going to be I think where I'm going to really share the bulk of my meditation practice is more on my blog. So the blog is always in the link below. I did my last piece before I left Costa Rica, and I'll get it going. I'll write something else when I get back next week. But if you want to follow what I'm doing and kind of what I'm thinking and my thought process and just some sharing stuff on my meditation practice, that would be the place. I'm going to start sharing a little bit more regularly on that. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this weekend video. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Love you. Peace.